101.3 WVS to the T. This is Soul Logistic Radio Show. Go by the name of Doug Evans. A few people call me Hannibal Smith. Got the Minister of Information and Straw that stirs the drink. The movie critic, hip hop professor, Fat Tommy. What's popping, brother?
What's going on, Doug Evans? What's happening, universe? Man,
Man,
it got hot already. It's summertime for sure.
man, it ain't no joke. It's hot out there, bruh.
You
Hey,
know,
hey, man, this week been crazy, man. Week in review, man. We lost a lot of folks this week. Ozzy Osbourne. How you feel about Ozzy Osbourne?
well, I liked Ozzy as when I was in high school. You know, the whole biting the bat's head off. You know, I used to think he really bit a bat's head off, but now that I realize it's really entertainment, he ain't bite no bat's head off, man. That man had a makeup. It was probably he bit a jelly donut and it squirted stuff on him.
Right.
No way, because I asked my wife where would he get a bat from every day? Because you know, if he did it in Richmond, he did it in the beach, he did it in Raleigh, he did it in New York. This man was riding around with bats. Like
And I get hepatitis or something, right?
they wouldn't have let him do that. This was
Oh,
all just hype.
Robbie Per Deal from City High. Remember the group City High?
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost that brother. Chuck Mangio,
Yep. Chuck Mangione. Yep.
Malcolm Jamal Warner, man. Come on, Theo, bro.
Man, who would have thought that Bill would outlive Theo? Bill was sick, looking sickly 10 years ago, and all of a sudden, he here and Theo ain't. Man.
And drowning. Hey, do you think enough black people know how to swim? Listen, I was in the Navy, right? And I
Uh-huh.
barely can swim. And let me tell you a story when I was in boot camp. When we first got to boot camp, they said, I want all the people that can swim, I want y'all stand on this side, and all the non-swimmers, I want you to stand on this side. It seemed like all the brothers
Was over there?
were on this side, man.
Well, that's because we don't have access to swimming pools. For example, in school in Connecticut, we had a swimming pool and a swim team. You know, like if I go to Petersburg High School tomorrow, I want to be on the swim team. We don't have a swimming pool. Like so therefore what they're gonna do, take me to not Jefferson,
Farmer
Farmer
Street
Street
Park.
Park, and have me learn to swim. I'm supposed to do laps in the
And
Farmer Street.
when I used to live in the acres, man, we used to go to Farmer Street Park, but you get there and then people trying to drown you, lifeguard not paying attention, he
They
ain't looking at the
TikTok and they on
girl,
their phone like that.
people peeing in the pool, and you
Oh
see somebody
Lord.
walk past and their feet look crusty, you jump out the pool and say, I'm going home.
Well, you know, that's
I
not
mean, that was
just
back
far.
then. It's probably different now, y'all. I know.
That's not just Farmer Street. I'm sure if you went to the park in Colonial Heights, you would see people trying to drown people. They definitely was peeing in the pool. And certainly they had some crusty feet. So that's
And you don't
not
want
just
that water. You don't want that. I don't care how much peroxide they put in that water. You don't want that getting in your nose and your mouth.
man, you be there and you know, as kids you drink the water. You know, you let it run all in and then you be putting it in there and spitting and making yourself into a fountain, you know, all of that. And you be like, your mother, that's why your mother used to go, don't put the water in your mouth. She knew. There's somebody in there
Hulk
peeing in the
Hogan.
pool.
Hulk
Oh man.
Hogan. The Hulkster. We lost Hulk Hogan. First of all, how you feel about Hulk Hogan, bro?
Well, he came after my wrestling days. You know, I was real big on wrestling when it was the Haystacks Calhouns, the Ric Flairs, the Blackjack Mulligans, the Executioners, Freight Train, you know, all of them. That's 70s. By the time Hulk Hogan came, you know, wrestling was a corporation and they were doing all, you know, so I liked Hulk Hogan, you know, just like I like what's that we cooking, The Rock. I like all them dudes,
Yeah.
but you know, I'm just partial to my era. Much like basketball. That's why I like Dr. J. You know, I got Dr. J. You know, whenever I talk about the greats, I have to put Dr. J in there, you know, with Michael Jordan. So I think it's all about eras, you know, and wrestling is the same way.
Hulk Hogan, you know, where he stole his whole persona from superstar Billy Graham, the whole ripping off
Yeah.
the shirt,
Yep.
uh
Yep.
brother, and all that. Um,
He didn't steal it. He remixed it and paid homage to him.
I never seen him mention it. The poor fella. He ain't when you pay homage, you mention the person that you took from. Ric Flair, he stole from Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. He stole the whole persona. Uh, Dusty Rhodes stole from Rufus R. Freight Train Jones. When you steal, when you giving props and pay homage, you let everybody know who you took it from, and they don't do
Okay,
that.
so hold it. So the 36 verses that Jay-Z took from Biggie and Slick Rick and all of them, he didn't say, I took this from Biggie, I took this from Nas, I took this from Slick Rick, I took this from Kane. So where we at? Is
I
he
mean,
because
he
they
took
call it paying homage. I never thought it was paying homage. You remember, I got
well,
people always yelled at me because
well.
I called it biting.
I've seen Big Daddy Kane and Jay Z's video. Uh, so they must be kind of close because Big Daddy Kane used to stop his show and let Jay-Z come on and rap doing his show. So that means they cool together.
Yeah,
It's
but just
almost
because
like,
Biggie might have been cool with Jay-Z, but taking 36 of my lines after I passed, bro, every
well,
other line.
I mean, if you feel that way, I'm not gonna argue with you on that. But
So
just
me
like,
and you homeboys, right? Me and Doug Evans is homeboys. Doug leaves his homeboy rap book at my house, right? I look at it, Doug forgot his book. I go outside, Sylvia Robinson's outside. She says, "Hey, Tommy, I'm looking for a rapper." I go, "Hey," I don't say my man Doug rap. I say, "I can rap." I take your book, I go in the booth, I rap the rhyme, and we cool though. Me and you is cool. And you don't care because you my man's in them. You be like, yeah, that's what you were supposed to do. So, what is that?
well, that's isn't that what Big Bank Hank did to my boy,
That's why I think
R.I.P.
biting
that
been
brother.
around
But
since the beginning of
it,
hip hop.
it but you could do that, or you can look at it that way, or you can look at it as if Doug Evans no longer here and Fat Tommy's on somebody's program, you think he won't say the man's like a parachute. It don't work if it ain't open, like my man would say. Or you just say some of my little quotes. You wouldn't say that?
But if I say your quote, I would say R.I.P. Doug, or as my man Doug would say. I
Okay.
wouldn't just say it and then act like, woo, it's mine. Because, I literally never hear him acknowledge that he take them rhymes from Biggie. Nor did I hear him acknowledge he took the line from Slick Rick. And now they got TikToks going on where apparently every song he got, like, okay, if he got 100 songs, 93 of them have other people's verses in them.
A lot of people
So,
took from Slick Rick though. I think Slick Rick is the most everybody take from Slick
well,
Rick.
I think really a line because I remember when people used to say it was you could say somebody's line without biting them because you put your own twist on the line. You could say like the mind is like a parachute, it don't work if it's not open. That's what Doug said. So if I say, the mind is like a parachute, if it ain't open, it don't work. I don't know where we fall in that because I kind of put my own little Fat Tommy twist in there, because words is words. There's only but a few words. We are limited in the amount of words. There's not a word for everything. Unless
And that came from somebody else. Mine's like that came from someone else. But check this out. So listen, this is what I want to ask you. Do you remember when Gail King interviewed Lisa Leslie and she brought up it was right when Kobe Bryant died, and she brought up Kobe Bryant past allegations, sexual abuse
yes, I
allegations,
do.
and we
Yes,
lost our mind. So
yes.
now with Hulk Hogan passing, uh, people are going at him hard, man. How he was a racist, and that. Do you think it's the same thing? You think we should cut him a little slack since he passed, or no? Pedal to the metal, belt the
Well,
ass. What you think?
I'm gonna say it like this: if I'm a pedophile and I do something to children, when I die, don't be at the funeral talking about Tommy was a great man. Tommy loved the kids.
Oh,
No, sir. You can't do that. So if Hulk Hogan was a racist, then one, I don't talk about the dead. He gone now, so it don't matter to me. But if I don't want to sit up here, I wouldn't act like he wasn't a racist. Like if Hulk Hogan did something racist to me, and then they called me on the show, I would even say I don't want to speak on the man. On the man was a racist man. He seen that, so don't be asking me about him. So I'm not gonna go past it, but I don't go out of my way to speak about the dead. I'm not gonna then 5 minutes after Hulk Hogan died, I'm not gonna say I don't care about nothing about him. He was a racist. No, but if you ask me about him, I'm not going to sugarcoat and try to bypass the fact that he was a racist. I'm just not gonna speak on him.
Boom.
Plus, I think, well, I'm gonna speak for me. I have a little racist tendencies inside of me because when people try to ask me like questions like, "Is Larry Bird the GOAT?" Like, no, he's not. And it's not just because he's white, it's just that he's not the GOAT. And then they say, well, what about Eminem? And I go, no. And then they go, well, what about Justin Timberlake? And I go, no. And then they say it's because I'm racist. No, that's not
I
it.
don't think.
I think they're just not good and they were propped up. And then because I say that, and because you're trying to get me to say that these white guys are great, like even Tom Brady, they try to tell me Tom Brady is great. I don't think he's not great. I think he's actually a good football player. But I think that enough of them already get their props. That's
Mm,
how I look at it. Like what we should do is be focusing on giving us our props. Like for example, when they say all these people to say that, I say, well, is LeBron above Larry Bird? Because if he is, then let's not even talk about Larry. Because we don't put him in the equation unless you're gonna tell me that he's above LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Because what are we talking about? So if Eminem is the GOAT, are you saying that he can out rap, I don't know. I would go with Reggie Noble. Like, if you really want to compare Eminem to somebody, you have to ask yourself, can he out rap Reggie Noble? Because they the same, that style for style. They're like, they both in the punchlines, they're both shock jocks. And so if you don't think he's better than Reggie Noble, which I don't, I happen to believe, I got Reggie Noble up there. Reggie is like,
I think Eminem is pretty good, but I'm with you. I can almost name 10 off the top of my head. I mean, I
right.
think Fabulous. I think Jadakiss. I think Black Thought. You know what I'm saying? I think Ludacris.
Say DMX, you gotta go. We ain't even got to the real rappers yet. You
Right,
know what I
right.
mean? We do, but
But
DMX.
but but he's good. But it's just, man, listen, Eminem is good. He's a really good rapper. You know what I'm saying? But he don't say anything to me to touch home, to hit the heart. And it's like the white guy, like I told you, when I was in the Navy, I was on a boat and the brothers would go to the club. We go to the club and the brothers dancing, everything cool. But we had this one white boy that was on the boat. When he get on the floor, the place go crazy. And
Cause
he
he
don't
can
do that
pop
but
like he had a couple of, he do that too. I go out there and do it. And they be like, Tommy, man, go ahead on, Tommy. Yeah. But then a white dude do it. I'm
you
like,
fat
I do the same moves he do.
Fat Tommy, you doing the Big Daddy Kane dancing, scoop and scrap. You getting it on the white boy. If he just stay on beat, they going
Right.
crazy. So
He do the electric slide and do a couple of moonwalks, and all of a sudden, this man is James Brown, Bobby Brown, Chris Brown. He one of the Browns, and here me, I didn't practice. I'm doing the exact same move, and no one's giving me credit. They're like, man, get off the floor, boo! I'm like,
right,
yo, how y'all do
right.
me like that?
So is that so? That's a nice segue into Cam Newton. I personally think Cam Newton is a hater. I think I think he's a hater, and by not saying Jalen Hurt is not in the top 10, he's not a top 10 quarterback. I mean, everybody can have their preference, but come on, man.
You know what? The reason I'm not gonna call him a hater is because I have called Lamar a bust. So I know people probably think I'm a hater because I say Lamar is a bust. You know what I'm saying? And if I was
Yeah.
Cam Newton and said that, they would really think that. Now the reason I give Cam a pass, I'll give you a couple of things. One, Cam Newton played at an elite level. So he's allowed to have his opinion. If he don't think the man is good, then that's his opinion. But here's where I challenge Cam Newton. I think we all wanted to get on television. See, I can go back to before there was black people on TV. Let's just back up a minute. There was a time when there was no black people on television, right? Now we're at a time where it's a bunch of black people on television. But I tell my kids that We weren't trying to get on TV so we could have black people on TV. We were trying to get on TV so we could have a black voice on television. So the things that normal commentators or for this sake, white people would say about black people, we were there to counter that. And so what Cam is saying right now, Jalen Hurts, to me, that's something that a white commentator would say. No black man in America could sit up there and look at where Jalen Hurts is and say what he's doing, because to steal from Shador Sanders, all football is Shador. This is what they asked Shador. They said to Shador, how do you feel about not getting enough snaps? Shador said, that's not for my question to answer. I'm an employee. I come to work. They tell me to do this. I do this. It's not my place to get upset or decide who gets how many snaps. And that's the same way with Jalen Hurts. It's not Jalen Hurts' decision to decide when he's going to pass, when he's going to run, when he's going to hand off, when he go in the game, when he don't go in the game. See, he's an employee. What we always try to act like, we try to act like that none of these people report to people. Every black person you see on television has a boss. Doesn't matter if they're in the football, basketball, coach, GM, any job. Think of every job you see on TV, that man, black or white, has to report to somebody. So when you ask these questions, oftentimes black people aren't allowed to give a black voice. They have to stick to, they call you up and they say, yo, stick to the narrative. We stay on script. That's how you lose your job, by going
Mm,
off script. For
mm.
example, we work at Virginia State University. That's where the radio station. So if basically Miss Williamson comes in and says, yo, I'm a Christian. I don't want you saying nothing about Shador because he's a Christian, right? So then we
Right.
don't think Shador is good. We like, Shador fumbled the ball yesterday 4 times. He threw 3 interceptions. But we can't say that because our boss said the narrative is Shador is a Christian and he does good. So when they ask us about the fumble, we say we didn't see the game. Or we go, told you. Because I'm not gonna sit up there and start saying he's good. That's the part that I hate. I hate the
Okay.
fact that when when you listen to Cam, it sounds like he's well. Not only does it sound like he's playing the narrative that everybody wants him to have, but I look at his show and I can tell. Listen, when you start seeing certain people on certain shows, like I can look at Shannon Sharp and see when his show changed. I can look at Cam Newton and see when his show changed just by the guests. When they start having certain guests on the show, you know that now they're in this corporate structure and they got to play by these rules. So when you see this, when I hear Cam say that, I just be like, oh, now he's
Because
already in.
you because you notice some people some people never get on these platforms, right?
Right. When you look up, when you look and all of a sudden you seeing Bootsy and Snoop Dogg on Cam Newton and all of that. When you start seeing these people who I don't want to say are plants, but they're in the fraternity of entertainment. When you're in the
Mm.
fraternity of entertainment, you start making the rounds. And I've noticed now that Cam Newton's show is on the rounds. Him and Shannon Sharp now get these artists that you go, when did they start getting them? So now their show has reached the level where they're in the system. And the system says, this is what you do. And see, that's the same way with Ryan. See, what Ryan does is this what he do. Ryan gives the black voice so that we could go, yeah, way to go. And then the next day he comes and apologizes so he can appease the bosses. That, well,
Okay.
what I meant to say was,
Okay.
I didn't mean it like
So
that.
do
Y'all
so do
took me
that
out of
do that
context.
do that
Right.
work for you? That way, does that work for you?
It really doesn't, because I'm almost to the point where I think me and you talked about it last week, where I'm ready to go back to just having no black people on TV. Like if we're gonna go on TV and say what white people say, then ain't no sense in us being on TV. Like I don't want to go on TV, because then when I come around the neighborhood, when I come to holler at Doug, and you be like, Tommy, you said Shador should be in the 5th round. Now all year last year, you was saying he was top quarterback. You said he was gonna go second. 2 weeks after him going fifth, you saying you're not sure if he gonna make the Cleveland Browns? That's what I don't understand. All of a sudden, y'all saying that he may not make the team. I go, the reason y'all are crazy is because one, I've never heard of anyone cutting the person with the top selling jersey. Okay, let's just start right there. If Doug Evans has the top selling NBA jersey, I don't care what team he play for. I don't think the owner's going to cut him. I think the owner's going to say, look, the fans love him. We got to figure out how to play him. I don't care that he don't have but one leg. The
Put him at,
fans
you know
love him.
that because they known to put you at wide receiver or do something, right?
They look. You ever get the person at work that's the boss's niece's cousin's girlfriend's brother? They found a position for him, and he be over top of you. He be at the work talking about, Doug,
Right,
move that over there. We don't put that over there. We put that over there. No, today we putting it over there. Then you got to put it over there. Then the boss come say, why you put that over there? Your nephew said put it over there. You know he don't know what he talking about.
right,
Don't listen to
right.
him. But he's my boss. Yeah, but you
You
don't have
right.
to listen to him. He's
You
just
right.
on the team. When he tell you something, tell him to go on back in the office. That's how they do it. Like, and that's how they're doing us as commentators. Because I
Wow.
wouldn't want to be a commentator. Like, I'm unsure. Like, I look at Stephen A, right? I go back and forth with Stephen A only because he does stuff like, how are you really mad? You and Kyrie Irving is friends. You say him and his dad, you and his dad is like thick as thieves, and all of a sudden the man don't want to take a shot, and you gonna fall. I'm gonna fall out with Doug Evans because your son said he didn't want to take the COVID shot. So now
Right.
me and you not speaking. That don't make sense to me. That
Mm,
makes no sense. And when COVID first happened, it was a lot of black people who were anti-vax. So where was the black voice? That's all I'm saying. Where's the black voice? Where was TA or where was JD Hayes on the radio going, don't take that, God.
right.
That ain't
That's
good.
right.
Like, we didn't have nobody standing up for us. And that's all I'm looking for. The only thing I'm looking for is a black face on TV that's delivering a black voice, that's in line with what we feel, and not so much ready to jump over there. And when I hear Cam Newton saying things like that about Jalen Hurts, that is almost like they got him shucking and jiving. Like, go on and say this because he can't possibly believe that. You think he really believes that Jalen Hurts is not a top 10 quarterback?
Right.
He can't. That's like really people that say Shador should have went in the fifth round. No one believes that. No one really believes that Shador Sanders is a fifth round quarterback. And if they do, they're about to find out they're wrong. But that's beside the point. The point is we need black people with a black voice. I don't need a black face with a white voice. That if we're gonna have that, I'd much rather have white people on television. But
And
then
we
they will
had
say I'm wrong
and we
because
had, if we want that, we just stick with RG3, right? But we're not
but
getting into
here's
it.
the question. If you had to get a job, right? You got to get a job. You can't find a job nowhere. They call you and say, come on, we're going to put Soul Logistics on there. We're going to pay you $1 million a year. But listen, you got to say these things right here. Now, it's not things that's really bad. It's just things that you don't necessarily agree with. Like, for example, they want you to put Eminem in the top 10. Like, if you talk about top 10, you just need to put Eminem in
Hey
your
yo,
top 10.
I be trying to squeeze them in. I be like top 10 and an asterisk. Uh,
See, that's what I'm saying. So then, but see,
how they slash MV co MVP. I be co top 10.
yeah, I got 10A and 10B.
Yeah.
But the question becomes, when you're getting paid, right? You need to feed your family. So who am I to judge Doug Evans for going on TV and sliding Eminem into the top 10 so he could keep his
But
job?
I still think that's still like we do have to feed our family, but at what cost? That's why so many rich people are not happy. That's why so many people walk around not happy because you now if it now some people that's not a big deal. Hip hop top 10 is not a big deal, so I throw them in there. I don't care. But for us, but for Doug Evans, that's a big deal. That's where I draw the line at. So we got to find something else. Now, if you said top 10 race car driver, I don't care. Throw who in there. But if you talk about if I'm a hit, look at Illmatic. I'm wearing it all. You know, that's my thing. You know what I mean? So if they tell me to do that, I'm thinking they trying to get me to compromise my belief. That's what they're attempting to do.
Well, the challenge I have is one, I don't think we check people the way we used to in the 70s and 80s. Like, if you really said that, then you couldn't, like, when you walk down Halifax Street, people will be like, Doug, I heard you say
They
Eminem
might throw
was
some.
top
They might throw
three.
something. And you listen. I was at an event last night, And the people, this is why I know how Rakim and Karis One, these Nas, they feel the way they feel. I was at an event last night and people was coming to me and appreciate what we was doing and
Right.
what was, you know what I'm saying? So people get it. So if I did that, like you said, when I got to the event last night, they'd be like, man, you out here. And you don't want that feeling, bro.
Well, unless you really believe it. Like if you believe it,
Oh,
that's
you care more
totally
about the
different.
money. Oh, if you care
Right.
more about the money.
Right. If you, because I remember we had a show and the dudes from Detroit was in there. They came all the way down here from Detroit and we asked them to name their top five. None of them named Eminem. Remember that? And then I didn't put Eminem in my top five, and they were like, "You don't have Eminem in your top five?" I said, "You from Detroit? You don't have him in your top five. What are we talking about here?" So a lot of times, a lot of us, what we don't understand is a lot of us wanted the bag, but not so much to compromise our integrity. Like I think there's still a room for integrity, and we should have a line. There should be some things that we say, I'm not saying
Right,
that.
because
Like it's
because
not
to me, I agree with you 100% because they're saying I gotta feed my family. Yeah, but feed your it don't take $1 million to feed your family. You want the Maybach and the in 3 homes. That's what
right.
you want.
Right. So right, because if you was a drug dealer, we would say, look, 5 seconds after you bought groceries, you should stop selling drugs. You done fed
Right,
the family for the week. Go look for a job again. Now you done got to the point where you constantly selling, and then you look at them and go, man, you got 2 Maybachs, four
right,
houses, and a swimming pool. And
right.
you saying you gotta feed, you doing this to feed your family. Like, and that's
Like
why I
that
believe.
that always messed with me when Biggie goes. This goes out to everybody that called the police on me when I was out there just trying to feed my daughter. But then you talk about you wearing all these brand name clothes. What that got to do about that? I didn't hear once he said I went to Walmart and bought groceries or
You know
I
what?
bought
I would say that his mother. This is how you know he was fronting. His mother would have fed his daughter. That's number one. I'm sure that Mrs. Smalls would have fed him, and she ain't appreciated. If she looked out the window and saw Biggie downstairs, just based on what I saw and think I believe about this woman, she would have called the police because she came from that old school. You ain't getting ready to do that. And yes, see, a lot of times we want to buy into the excuses. Like that's just like no snitching. That ain't no rule. Only people that came up with no snitching is criminals. Now, if you are a law-abiding citizen, you shouldn't even hear nobody say no snitching. When the police pull you over, you're supposed to shake the cop saying, "How you doing today, officer?" Like, why am I not speaking to the police if I'm not a criminal? Like, these things don't add up in our community, and it goes back to us chasing a bag. We more concerned about a bag than the effect that it has on the community. So when Cam Newton says these things, he getting a bag, but he don't understand how that's making the whole community feel. Like you taking a quarterback that went to the Super Bowl, and now you moving the goalpost to say that when a black guy make the Super Bowl, he not top 10. Because automatically it was when you won, when your team won, the quarterback took them there. When your team loses, despite whatever you think, even Lamar throwing the ball and the dude dropping. I know they say they don't look at it as Lamar's loss, but they do because they go, well, he shouldn't have been in that position anyway. He should have already scored. Why are we waiting to the last touchdown to win the game? Like if you're an elite quarterback, you're supposed to have always been ahead. So they moved the goalpost for us, and we tend to do it too. But again, the reason I can't really fault Cam because I keep
he
saying
trying to buy
Lamar.
groceries.
Well, no, I was gonna say I say
He's
Lamar's a
already
bust,
rich.
but Lamar didn't go to the Super Bowl. So if Lamar went to the Super Bowl, I probably would stop saying he's a bust because he's won past the play. Once he wins past the playoffs, I won't call him a bust no more. But for the last 2 seasons, he's a bust. Like that's it. When if y'all want me to stop calling him a bust, tell him to make it to a Super Bowl, and then I'll say he's no longer a bust. That's it. That's my rule.
All right. Lastly, you had a nice segue when you was talking about snitching the police. Now, right here, this brother here, Will McNeil, Nick McNeil Jr. Did you see the video of Bayou, the police? They bust the
Bust out
window,
the window, punched him in the face.
bust them in the face.
Head, yeah.
Now, the first thing I want to say is that black folks, why do you always trying to try the case on the street. Like, why you can't try the case on the street. Apply, do what you got to do to live another day and go to court the next day. Now, with all that being said, you pull a man over for no lights on and it's not raining and is not fogging or anything like that. The police pulls up, they don't have their lights on. You know what I'm saying? It's just right. It's just ridiculous, man. And you get all that for lights. That's probably why he's petrified to get out the car. You know what I'm saying?
We've always, again, you know what? See, this brings me back again to 360 degrees of Shedeur Sanders. And the reason I say that is because he dropped to number 5, not because he wasn't good, but because he was unapologetically black. And so sometimes when the police pull you over, now, I don't try the case, but on some days, you know how you had that bad day at work, and now the police, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon in August. The sun is as bright as the sun can be. It's blinding you. People got shades on, and you're pulling me over because I don't have lights. First of all, if I don't have daytime run lights, I'm not required to turn my lights on unless it's raining. So you pull, and it's not dusk. So you pulling me over for no lights is just unnecessary. Now, yes, I should have just listened. I get it. I'm supposed to listen, take my ticket, go to court, and then tell the judge, Your Honor, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Here go the report. Sun was shining. There was no need. But you've just upset me because I know it ain't about my lights.
Yeah, it's about I'm getting smart with you, and I'm asking.
Right.
I'm trying to use the rights that was given to me, and I'm trying to use them, but they don't work for us.
Right. So in that instance, here's what I say. I tell my child that you should treat police the same way you treat anyone with a gun. Okay? They in charge if you don't have one. If you sitting at the light and a dude walk up on you with a gun, tell you to get out the car, you don't say, what I do? You get out the car.
I might skirt. I might pull off. Yo,
anything. What you don't do is sit there and argue and debate with him, is my point. Right. So when the police pull you over, you have 2 choices. You can either get mad at the police, argue, and then here's the thing. It's just like when I tell people they could say the N-word. You can say it. One brother might dap you up. The next one might punch you in the face. You don't know what you're going to get. So when you try to argue with a cop, one cop might look at you and go, you're absolutely right. I was wrong. Take your license. Have a nice day. The next cop may bust the window, drag you out, and stomp you.
I mean, you that same situation, you could have been laughing it off, like, bruh, really? Nobody's lights on. I get out the car, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's cars riding by, nobody got their lights on. Okay, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Well, the key to life is to come home every day. That's what I tell them. Look, the key is because what they're trying to do, listen, we have to be smarter because remember, bullies used to do it. You can't put yourself in a position where the bully make you start the fight. You can't put yourself in a position where the cop is messing with you and then he gets you out of character and now you done something to him that gives him the right to tase you. So he can go because all he needs is a little bit for the benefit of the doubt. You giving it to him when you could just remain responsible and could deal with it. It's totally up to you.
All right, then. Hey, appreciate your fat timing. Be safe out there, all right?
Yes, sir. Drink plenty of fluids. Get your hydration on. Have a good one. Peace.
Peace.